The night shift at Nexus Prime was always quiet, liked it that way. He walked slowly through the empty halls of the embassy, checking doors and watching security screens. His footsteps made soft sounds on the polished floor. The only other noise came from the gentle hum of air systems. Had worked here for 6 months. It was a good job. The pay was better than most places, and he did not have to talk to many people. That suited him just fine. He was not good with crowds or loud voices. His hands shook sometimes when too many people looked at him. The night shift meant he mostly worked alone. He stopped at a window and looked out at the stars. Nexus Prime was a space station that floated between different alien worlds. Ships came and went at all hours. Tonight felt different, though. Tomorrow, the Empress of the Empire would arrive. Had never seen an Empress before. He had only seen on news screens and in the embassy halls. They were tall and thin. Their skin looked like colored glass that changed colors with their feelings. When they were happy, they glowed gold. When angry, they turned red. Most of the time, the saw glowed with soft blue or purple light. They moved like dancers and spoke in musical voices. Touched his glasses and fixed them on his nose. It was a habit when he felt nervous. That made him nervous. They always looked down at humans, not just because they were taller. They acted like humans were pets or furniture. They talked over humans like they were not there. The door chimed, turned to see Ambassador walking toward him. The skin glowed soft green in the dim light. Green meant he was thinking hard about something. Guard said, his voice sounded like wind chimes. Tomorrow will be very important. The Empress comes for trade talks. Everything must be perfect. Yes, sir, said. He looked down at his shoes. Eye contact with always made him uncomfortable. Their eyes were too bright, too knowing. The Empress has very high standards, continued. She rules 47 star systems. She has never been wrong about anything. She expects the same perfection from everyone around her. Nodded. He had heard stories about Empress H. People said she was the most beautiful ever born. They said her skin could shine brighter than stars when she was happy. They also said she had never met anyone she thought was worth her time. Will there be extra security? Asked. Skin flickered yellow with surprise. Extra security? Why would we need that? Who would dare harm the Empress? Shrugged, just asking, sir. The Empress has her own guards, the best warriors in the Empire. Nothing will happen to her here. Skin went back to green. Just do your job, guard, stay out of the way. After left, went back to his rounds. He checked the main hall where the welcome party would happen tomorrow. Workers had spent days making everything perfect. Gold banners hung from the walls. Crystal flowers sat on every table. The floor was so clean it looked like a mirror. Thought about the Empress coming here. What would it be like to rule so many worlds? What would it be like to have everyone afraid of you? He could not imagine it. He had trouble ordering food at restaurants without stuttering. His radio buzzed. This is Control. Everything quiet down there. All clear, said into the radio. Just making my rounds. Good, get some rest after your shift. Tomorrow will be crazy. Finished checking the embassy and went to the security office. He made notes in his log book. Everything normal. No problems, same as always. He liked normal. At 6 in the morning, the day shift guards arrived. Gave them his report and headed to his small room in the station's housing section. He had a tiny kitchen, a bed, and a desk. On the desk sat a small pot with a green plant growing in it. It was just a simple earth plant, but it made him feel better to take care of something. He watered the plant and made some coffee. Through his small window, he could see ships moving around the station. Soon, one of those ships would bring the Empress. Wondered what she would be like in person. He had seen her picture on news screens. She was beautiful in the strange way we're beautiful. Her skin was pale blue-white like ice, and her hair looked like silver water. In the pictures, she always stood very straight with her chin up. She looked like someone who had never doubted herself about anything. Lay down on his bed but could not sleep. He kept thinking about tomorrow. Big events always made him nervous. Too many people, too much noise, too many things that could go wrong. He finally fell asleep around noon. When he woke up, the sun lights on the station were getting dim. Time for another night shift. Put on his uniform and checked his equipment. Security badge, radio, flashlight, and a small energy weapon he hoped he would never have to use. As he walked back to the embassy, he saw more activity than usual. Workers rushed around carrying boxes and flowers. The air smelled like expensive perfume and alien spices. Ship engines rumbled in the distance. Reached the embassy and checked in with the day shift supervisor. "How was it today?" he asked. "Busy. They have been setting up all day. The Empress arrives first thing tomorrow morning. Big welcome ceremony at 10. The supervisor looked tired. "After that, meetings all day. Should be quiet for your shift." Nodded and took his post. One more quiet night, then everything would change. He did not know how much. As he started his first round, looked at all the gold and crystal decorations. Everything sparkled and shone. It looked like a palace from a fairy tale. Soon, a real empress would walk through these halls. Fixed his glasses and kept walking. Tomorrow, he would meet the most powerful person in the galaxy. He just hoped he would not embarrass himself. The stars outside looked the same as always, but something felt different. Could not say what it was. Change was coming whether he was ready or not. The Empress arrived exactly at 10 in the morning. Was not on duty, but he heard the noise from his room. Trumpets played music that sounded like crystal bells. Voices cheered in different alien languages. The whole station seemed to hold its breath. Tried to sleep, but the celebration was too loud. He gave up and made coffee. Through his window, he could see the Empress's ship. It was huge and white, covered in golden patterns that looked like art. Smaller ships flew around it like birds protecting their nest. He wondered what the Empress looked like in person. Was she really as perfect as the pictures showed? By evening, things got quieter. Ate dinner and got ready for his shift. When he arrived at the embassy, everything looked different. The decorations were even more fancy than before. Guards in golden armor stood at every door. They were tall with weapons that glowed blue. "Busy day?" asked the day shift supervisor. "You could say that. The Empress spent all day in meetings. Big dinner party tonight in the main hall. Should be over by the time you start your rounds." Nodded and took his equipment. The night felt strange. More people than usual walked through the halls. Servants rushed around carrying trays and boxes. The air buzzed with excitement and worry. At midnight, started his first round. He could hear music and laughter from the main hall. The dinner party was still going. He walked past the closed doors and checked the empty sections of the embassy. Everything seemed normal until he reached the east wing. A door that should have been locked stood open. Stopped and listened. He heard quiet footsteps inside. Someone was where they should not be. Touched his radio. "Control, this is. I have an open door in Section 7. Should anyone be there?" "Negative, that area should be empty. Check it out." Drew his weapon and moved toward the open door. His hands shook a little, but he kept moving. He had been trained for this, even if he hoped it would never happen. Inside the room, found 3 figures in dark clothes. They had weapons and strange devices he did not recognize. One of them was placing something on the wall. "Hey," shouted, "stop right there." The figures turned toward him. They were not. Their faces were covered, but could see they were from different alien races. One looked like the insect people from the Rim worlds. Another had gray skin like the human guard. One of them said in broken standard, "You should not be here." "Neither should you. Put down your weapons." Instead, they raised their guns, dove behind a desk as energy bolts flew over his head. The air sizzled where the shots hit the wall. Keyed his radio. "Control, security breach in Section 7. Armed hostiles. I need backup now." "On the way, hold your position." The shooting stopped. looked around the desk and saw the three figures running toward another door. He followed them, trying to stay behind cover. They ran through the embassy halls, stayed behind them, calling out their position on his radio. Other guards were coming, but the hostiles knew where they were going. Realized they were heading for the main hall, where the dinner party was happening, where the Empress was. "They are going for the main hall," he shouted into his radio. "The Empress is in danger." Ran faster than he ever had before. His breath came in short gasps. His legs burned, but he had to reach the hall first. He burst through the doors just as the three hostiles entered from the other side. The main hall was full of people in fancy clothes, in glowing robes, diplomats from a dozen worlds, and at the center on a raised platform sat Empress H. She was more beautiful than any picture could show. Her skin glowed like moonlight on water. Her silver hair moved like it was alive. She wore a dress that looked like it was made of starlight. When she turned to see what the noise was about, her eyes were like purple jewels. Gunn shouted, "Everyone down." Most people did not understand what was happening. They stood and stared, but saw one of the hostiles raise a weapon toward the Empress. Did not think. He ran. His legs carried him across the hall faster than he knew he could move. The hostile's weapon charged with a high whining sound. Threw himself in front of the Empress just as the energy bolt fired. The blast hit his left shoulder and spun him around. Pain shot through his body like lightning. He fell hard on the platform steps. The hall exploded into chaos. People screamed and ran in all directions. The guards finally reacted, but they seemed confused by the human weapons. They had never seen this kind of attack before. Lay on the floor holding his shoulder. Blood ran between his fingers. Through the pain, he heard more weapons firing, shouts in different languages, the sound of running feet. Then everything went quiet. Opened his eyes and saw a face looking down at him. It was the most beautiful face he had ever seen. The Empress knelt beside him, her dress spread around her like water. Her skin glowed with colors he had never seen before, blue and gold and something like pink. "Why?" she asked. Her voice was soft and musical, but there was something else in it, surprise, maybe even fear. "Why did you do that?" Tried to sit up, but pain shot through his shoulder again. "My job," he said through gritted teeth, "protect people." "But I am not your people. You are human." Looked at her purple eyes. Even hurt and confused, he could see she was trying to understand something that made no sense to her. "Does not matter," he said. "Wrong is wrong, right is right." The Empress stared at him for a long moment. Her skin shifted colors like a rainbow. Had never seen her do that before. He wondered what it meant. "What is your name?" she asked. "Your Majesty." She repeated like she was testing how it sounded. "I am H. I know who you are." She smiled then, just a little. "Yes, I suppose you do." Medical people arrived and started working on shoulder. The Empress stayed beside him the whole time, watching everything they did. Her guards kept trying to move her to safety, but she refused to leave. "The human stays in the medical bay," she ordered. "Give him the best care we have." As they carried away on a stretcher, he saw the Empress still watching him. Her skin was glowing soft pink now. He had never seen that color on her before. Did not know it yet, but everything had changed. For him, for her, for everyone. Spent 3 days in the medical bay. The doctors were surprised at how fast humans healed. They kept checking his shoulder and making notes, just wanted to go back to work. On the second day, the Empress came to visit. Was reading on his tablet when she walked in. She moved like she was dancing, her silver dress flowing around her. Her skin glowed with soft blue light. 2 guards followed her, but she waved them away. "How are you feeling?" she asked. "Much better, Your Majesty. The doctors say I can go back to work tomorrow." "Good." She sat in the chair next to his bed, was surprised. He had never seen her sit in a normal chair. They usually stood or used floating seats. I wanted to thank you properly. You do not need to thank me. I was just doing my job. Your job, her skin flickered with yellow confusion. Your job is to guard empty hallways at night, not to save empresses. Shrugged with his good shoulder, my job is to keep people safe. You are people. She stared at him for a long moment. You really believe that? Believe what? That I am just people, not different from you. Looked at her glowing skin and bright eyes. You are different, but that does not make you worth more or less than anyone else. Her skin changed to a color he had not seen before, soft pink mixed with gold. I have never met anyone who thought like you do. They talked for an hour. She asked him about his work, his home, his life before the embassy. Answered her questions, but he was confused about why she cared. She was an empress. He was a security guard. When she left, her guards looked worried. One of them was muttering in the language, caught some of the words. They were not happy about their empress talking to a human. The next day went back to work. His shoulder was still sore, but he could move it. The night shift supervisor gave him light duties, no heavy lifting, just walking and watching. Thought the visit from the Empress was a one-time thing. He was wrong. She came again the next night, and the night after that, always during his rounds, always with an excuse. She needed to check on security. She could not sleep and wanted to walk. She was worried about another attack, but could tell she just wanted to talk. What do you do when you are not working? She asked one night. They were standing in the observation deck looking out at the stars. I read, take care of my plant. Sometimes I write. You write? What do you write about? Felt his face get warm. Just things, stories, poems sometimes, nothing important. Her skin glowed brighter. I would like to read your poems. They are not very good. I will decide that. The next night brought one of his tablets. It had some of his writing on it. He felt nervous giving it to her. No one had ever read his poems before. She read in silence, her skin changing colors as she went through the words. Sometimes blue, sometimes gold, sometimes that strange pink color. This one, she said, pointing to a poem about a small flower growing in space. This is beautiful. You wrote this. Yes, it is about my plant, the one in my room. You have a plant in your room. Nodded, just a small one from Earth, green beans. Show me. So they went his room. It was the first time the Empress had ever been in human quarters. She looked around at his small space with wide eyes. Everything was simple and clean. A bed, a desk, a tiny kitchen area. But she spent the longest time looking at his plant. It is alive, she whispered. She reached out to touch a leaf, then stopped. May I? Of course. She touched the plant very gently. Her skin glowed with wonder. We do not have plants like this. Everything is made of crystal and metal. I have never seen something so green. Would you like me to grow you one? She looked at him with those bright purple eyes. You would do that. If you want, it is easy. From that night on, their talks got longer. She asked him about earth plants and animals, about human books and music, about what it was like to grow up on a world with rain and dirt and wild things. Started bringing her books to read, simple ones at first, then more complex stories. She read everything he gave her. Sometimes she asked questions about words or ideas she did not understand. Why do the humans in this story care so much about honor? She asked one night. They were reading a book about ancient Earth warriors. Because honor is important. It is about doing the right thing even when it is hard. Even when no one is watching. Especially then. She was quiet for a long time after that. Learned things about her too. She had ruled the empire since she was very young. Her parents died in an accident when she was barely adult. Everyone had always told her she was perfect, that her decisions were always right. But what if I make a mistake? She asked one night. Everyone makes mistakes. That is how we learn. I am not allowed to make mistakes. If I am wrong about something, people could die. If you never make mistakes, you never learn. And if you never learn, you will make bigger mistakes later. Her skin shifted through many colors while she thought about that. Started to notice other changes. The embassy kitchen began serving different food. Some of it tasted like earth vegetables. When he asked about it, the cook just shrugged and said the Empress had requested new recipes. He also noticed the other watching him. They whispered when he walked by. Their skin glowed with colors he recognized as anger and worry. Ambassador called him into his office one morning. "Guard, I must ask you something important." "Yes, sir." "The Empress has been spending time with you. This is unusual." Felt his stomach tighten. She just asks questions sometimes about security. About security, skin was deep red, for 3 hours last night. We talked about other things too. What other things? Did not know what to say. He could not lie, but he did not want to get the Empress in trouble. Human culture, sir. She is curious about how humans live. Was quiet for a long moment. His skin went from red to dark blue. "Guard, you must understand. The Empress is not like other. She rules an empire. Her bloodline is pure. She cannot have friendships with lesser beings." Lesser beings? You know what I mean. This interest she has in you and your people, it cannot continue. Felt something hot rise in his chest. Anger maybe, or hurt. I have not done anything wrong. Not wrong, perhaps, but inappropriate. The other ambassadors are starting to talk. They say the Empress is becoming soft, that she cares too much about inferior species. We are not inferior. Skin flashed bright red. You are. Look around you, human. Look at what we have built. Our ships, our technology, our empire. What have humans ever accomplished? Stood up, his hands were shaking, but not from nerves this time. We have learned to care about each other, even when we are different. He left his office before the ambassador could respond. That night thought about not going to his usual rounds. Maybe he should avoid the places where the Empress might find him. Maybe was right. Maybe their friendship was causing problems. But when he reached the observation deck, she was already there. Her skin was glowing with the pink and gold colors he had learned meant she was happy. "I have something for you," she said. She held up a small pot. Inside was a tiny green plant. "You grew this." "I tried. I followed your instructions. Is it right?" Looked at the small bean sprout. It was perfect. It is beautiful. Her skin glowed brighter than he had ever seen, and realized something that scared him more than any weapon. He was falling in love with an alien Empress who lived in a completely different world from his. And from the way her skin kept changing to pink around him, he thought maybe she felt the same way. The crisis came 2 weeks later. Was in his room watering his plants. He had several now. The Empress had asked him to grow different kinds, and his small space had become like a tiny garden. Green beans, tomatoes, even some flowers from earth seeds. Someone knocked on his door. When he opened it, the Empress stood there alone. No guards, no servants, just her, and she looked different. Her skin was cycling through colors very fast. Blue to gold to that pink color to something almost purple. "Your Majesty, is everything all right? May I come in?" Stepped aside. She walked into his room and looked around at all the plants. Her skin seemed to calm down a little when she saw them. "I love what you have done here," she said. "It is like a piece of your world inside this metal station." "Thank you. Would you like some tea? I have some from Earth." "Yes, please." Made tea with hands that shook slightly. The Empress never came to his room without a reason. Something was wrong. They sat at his small table, drinking tea from simple cups. The Empress held hers like it was made of precious crystal. She said finally, "I must tell you something." "All right." "I have been thinking about what Ambassador said to you. about our friendship being inappropriate. Felt his stomach drop. You heard about that? I hear about everything that happens in my embassy. Her skin went dark blue. He was wrong to speak to you that way. He was just worried about you. No, he was worried about the old ways, about keeping things the same. She set down her cup. I must ask you something, and I need you to be honest with me. Of course. Do you think I am a good person? The question surprised him. What do you mean? Do I treat people well? Am I kind? Am I fair? Was quiet for a moment. He thought about all the conversations they had shared, about how she had started learning the names of the embassy staff, about how she had grown plants and read human poetry. But he also thought about how she still spoke to the servants, how she never looked at the cleaning crew when they worked around her, how she had never once asked the name of the cook who made her new recipes. You are learning to be, he said finally. Her skin flickered through several colors. Learning to be, not already good. We all learn, Your Majesty, every day. H. What? My name is H. I want you to use it when we are alone. Felt something warm in his chest, and something cold too, like hope and fear mixing together. H, he said. Her name felt strange in his mouth, beautiful but strange. She smiled. I love how you say it. Then her face got serious again. I have something important to tell you, something I should have said weeks ago. Before he could ask what she meant, she was talking again. Words poured out of her like water from a broken dam. I think about you all the time. When I wake up, I wonder what you are doing. During boring meetings, I think about our conversations. I have never felt like this about anyone before. I know it is strange. I know it is impossible, but I think I am in love with you. Stared at her. Her skin was glowing bright pink now, brighter than he had ever seen. She looked beautiful and vulnerable and completely unlike the powerful Empress everyone else saw. H. I know what you are going to say. I am an Empress. You are a guard. We are different species, but love does not care about those things, does it? Felt his heart breaking because he did love her. He had loved her for weeks now, but he also knew it could never work. I care about you too, he said carefully, but what? You still do not see it, do you? See what? Stood up and walked to the window. This morning when you came to the embassy, you walked past 5 human staff members. Do you know any of their names? What does that have to do with anything? Do you know the name of the woman who cleans your meeting room every day? No, but the man who brings you food during long meetings. I do not understand what you are asking. He turned to face her. You say you love me, but you treat my people like we are invisible, like we do not matter. Her skin went pale blue. That is not true. It is true. You have learned my name because you are interested in me. But every other human in this embassy is just a thing to you, something that brings you food or cleans your rooms or guards your doors. But you are different. You saved my life. I am not different. Any of them would have done the same thing, but you never gave them the chance to show you who they are. H stood up. Her skin was cycling through colors again. I do not treat them badly. You do not treat them at all. You look through them like they are not there. What are you saying? Took a deep breath. I am saying I could never be with someone who thinks my people are worth less than hers. The words hit her like a physical blow. Her skin went dark purple, almost black. You are rejecting me. I am telling you that love is not about lifting one person up. It is about seeing everyone as equal. Until you can do that, we cannot be together. She stared at him for a long moment. Then, without saying a word, she left. Sat back down and put his head in his hands. His heart felt like it was torn in half, but he knew he had done the right thing. 3 days passed. Did not see H at all. The embassy felt different, quieter, sadder somehow. On the 4th day, Ambassador called to his office again. Guard, we need to talk. Yes, sir. The Empress has been asking questions, strange questions, about you. Felt worried. What kind of questions? About your background, your training, your life before you came here. I told her about my life. Did you tell her about your military service? Went very still. What about it? Did you tell her you were in special forces, that you were a decorated officer, that you led rescue missions that saved thousands of lives? No. Did you tell her about the war, about what happened to your unit, about why you left the military? No. Leaned back in his chair. His skin was deep red. Why not? Because it does not matter. That was a long time ago. I am different now. Different how? Was quiet for a long moment. Broken, he said finally. The war broke something in me. I cannot lead people anymore. I cannot make decisions that get people killed. I took this job because it is quiet and simple and no one depends on me. But you still jumped in front of a weapon to save the Empress. That was instinct, training. It does not mean I am still a soldier. Stood up and walked to his window. The Empress knows now. She found your military records. She knows who you really are. Felt cold. How? She is an Empress, guard. She has resources you cannot imagine. Turned back to him. But that is not the worst part. What do you mean? Her investigation found other things, about the attack, about who planned it. Who planned it? Skin went from red to something had never seen, gray like fear. Some members of my council, high-ranking, who thought the Empress was becoming too soft, too interested in inferior species. He looked directly at, too interested in you. Felt like the floor was falling away under him. They tried to kill her because of me. They tried to kill her because she was changing, because for the first time in her life, she was learning to see other species as equals, and they blamed you for that change. The office door chimed. Both men turned as H walked in. She looked different, older somehow. Her skin was steady blue-white like ice. Ambassador, thank you for your help with the investigation. You may go. Bowed and left quickly. H looked at for a long moment. Commander, she said finally. I am not a commander anymore. You never stopped being one. You just chose a different kind of mission. She walked closer to him. A mission to heal instead of fight, to protect instead of lead, to grow things instead of destroy them. H, you were right, you know, about everything. I did treat your people like they were invisible. I was so focused on my own importance that I forgot other beings had worth too. I should not have said it like that. You should have said it sooner. Her skin flickered with something that might have been a smile. I have spent the last 3 days talking to every human in the embassy, learning their names, their stories, their dreams. You did. Sarah Martinez has 2 children on Earth. She sends them pictures of the stars every day. David plays music in his room every night, jazz from old Earth recordings. Maria Santos grows flowers on the observation deck and gives them to anyone who looks sad. Stared at her. You learned all that in 3 days. I learned that humans are amazing, that you build families and create beauty and care for each other in ways my people have forgotten how to do. Her skin was glowing pink again. And I learned that the man I love was a hero long before he saved my life. He was a hero for choosing to be gentle in a universe that rewards violence. Felt tears in his eyes. The people who tried to kill you, it was because of me. It was because of them, because they were afraid of change, afraid of losing power. She reached out and took his hand. But they failed because the change has already begun, and it cannot be stopped. What do you mean? She smiled, and her skin glowed brighter than the sun. I have a proposal for you, something that will shock everyone who thinks they know us. What kind of proposal? The kind that will change everything. Stared at H. Her skin was glowing with colors he had never seen before, like a rainbow but softer, more alive. "What kind of proposal?" he asked again. "I want to give up my throne." The words hit like a shock wave. "What?" "I want to step down as Empress. I want to work here, on Nexus Prime, as an equal partner with you." Sat down hard in a chair. "You cannot be serious." "I have never been more serious about anything." She sat across from him, her eyes bright with excitement. "For the first time in my life, I understand what it means to choose. To really choose, not just to have everything given to me because of my bloodline. But your empire, your people, they need you. Do they? Or do they need someone who tells them they are better than everyone else? Someone who keeps them separate from the rest of the galaxy?" Shook his head. "I do not understand." H leaned forward. "The empire is dying. We are so convinced of our own superiority that we cannot learn from other species. We cannot grow. We cannot change. Every year we fall further behind while other civilizations work together and share knowledge. But you are their ruler. You can change things from inside." "I tried, for 10 years I tried, but the system is too strong. The old families, the military leaders, the council members like the ones who tried to kill me, they block every reform. They fight every change." Was quiet for a moment. "What would you do here?" "Help people, really help them. Use my knowledge of galactic politics and trade to solve problems. Work with the station security to prevent conflicts. Learn how to grow things and build things and fix things." Her skin glowed brighter. "Live a life that matters." "And the empire?" "I have a cousin. He is young and smart and he listens to different viewpoints. He would make a good emperor, better than me probably." Looked at her carefully. "You have really thought about this?" "I have thought about nothing else for 3 days." She reached across the table and took his hands. "I love you, not because you are exotic or different or because you saved my life. I love you because you showed me what it means to be good, really good. Good when no one is watching, good when it is hard, good when it costs you something." I know it sounds crazy, an empress giving up everything for a security guard, but I am not really an empress, am I? I am just a woman who was born into a title, and you are not really just a security guard. You are a man who chooses to protect people every day, even when they cannot protect themselves." Was quiet for a long time. He thought about his small room with its plants, about his simple job walking empty hallways, about the peace he had found after the war. But he also thought about the woman sitting across from him, about how she had changed from someone cold and distant into someone warm and caring, about how she had learned the names of every human worker in the embassy, about how she had grown a plant from seeds just because he asked her to. "There is something I need to tell you," he said finally. "What?" "I knew who you were, from the first day you talked to me." Her skin flickered with surprise. "What do you mean?" "I knew you were lonely. I could see it in your eyes. You had all the power in the galaxy, but no one who really saw you. No one who cared about you as a person instead of as a ruler. But you never said anything. I thought maybe, if I was patient, if I showed you a different way of thinking, you might start to change. Not because I wanted something from you, but because you deserved to be happy." H stared at him. Her skin was cycling through colors so fast it looked like she was made of light itself. You were helping me on purpose. I was trying to be your friend, real friendship, the kind where people challenge each other to be better. Even when I was cruel to your people. Especially then, I knew you could be better. I just had to wait for you to see it too. She was crying now, had never seen a cry before. Their tears looked like liquid silver. "How did you know I could change?" "Because you came to the medical bay to see me, because you asked questions about my life, because you touched my plant like it was precious." Smiled. "Because when you are really happy, your skin glows pink, and I had never heard of a doing that before." H laughed through her tears. "Pink is not a proper color. The color masters always told me to control it better. Pink is the most beautiful color I have ever seen. They sat in silence for a few minutes, holding hands across the small table. So H said finally, "Will you do it? Will you work with me as partners?" What would we do? Everything. Help solve trade disputes, prevent wars, protect refugees, build connections between species who do not trust each other. Her eyes were bright with dreams. Show the galaxy that cooperation is stronger than domination. Thought about it, it sounded dangerous, complicated, full of challenges and risks and things that could go wrong. It sounded perfect. Yes, he said. 2 months later, the galaxy received the most shocking news in centuries. Empress H of the Empire had abdicated her throne. She had given up ruling 47 star systems to become a mediator and peacekeeper on Nexus Prime. Her partner in this new work was a human named. Some people called it the greatest scandal in galactic history. Others called it the most romantic story ever told. Most just called it impossible. But an H did not care what people called it. They were too busy working. Their first case was a trade dispute between the mining worlds and the agricultural systems. The two species had been fighting for months over shipping routes. Previous mediators had failed because they tried to impose solutions from the outside. And H tried something different. They brought both sides together on Nexus Prime and asked them to work in the station's gardens together, and working side by side, growing food. At first, both sides thought it was a waste of time, but as they worked with the soil and plants, they started talking, not about trade routes or profit margins, but about their worlds, their families, their hopes for the future. By the end of the week, they had designed a shipping system that benefited both species. But more importantly, they had learned to see each other as people instead of obstacles. Word of their success spread quickly. Soon, other conflicts were brought to them. Pirates threatening frontier colonies, religious disputes on multi-species worlds, corporate wars that hurt innocent civilians. Handled the tactical problems. His military experience helped him understand how conflicts worked and how to prevent violence. H used her knowledge of galactic politics to find solutions that satisfied everyone's real needs. But the most important thing they did was simple. They treated everyone the same. Rich or poor, powerful or weak, human or alien. Everyone got the same respect. Everyone's voice mattered. The empire, under Emperor, began to change too. The new ruler started opening trade with species the empire had previously ignored. He invited alien diplomats to, for the first time in centuries. He even created exchange programs where young could live and work on other worlds. Some of the old families resisted. There were protests and political fights, but the changes kept coming, slow but steady. And H heard about these changes during their morning routine. They had moved into a larger apartment on Nexus Prime, one with room for a proper garden. Every day, they worked in the soil together before starting their mediation work. Opened a human cultural center on Prime, H said, reading from a news tablet while she watered tomatoes. That is good, said. He was trimming bean plants. Change has to start somewhere. Do you ever wonder if we could have done more from inside the empire? Looked at her. She was wearing simple work clothes now instead of royal gowns. Her skin glowed with the soft pink that meant she was content. She looked younger somehow, freer. Do you regret it? He asked. Never, she smiled at him. I spent 30 years being an empress. Now I get to spend the rest of my life being myself. That afternoon, they received a message that would have shocked their old selves. A group of young wanted to visit Nexus Prime to learn about mediation techniques. They wanted to take these skills back to their own worlds and help solve conflicts there. How many? Asked. 20, H read from the message. All from different levels of society. Some noble families, some middle class, some working class. All learning together. all learning together. Smiled. This was how change really happened, not through royal decrees or military force, but through people choosing to be better, choosing to see others as equals, choosing to build instead of destroy. That evening, they sat on their balcony and watched the stars. Ships moved in and out of the station's docking bays. People from dozens of species walking the same corridors, working toward common goals. "Do you think we will really change things?" H asked. "In the long run, I mean." Took her hand. Her skin was warm and glowing with soft gold light, happy light. "We already have," he said, "one person at a time, one conversation at a time, one choice at a time." Above them, the stars shone down on a galaxy that was learning, slowly but surely, that the strongest force in the universe was not weapons or wealth or power. It was two people from different worlds choosing to love each other enough to make everything better. The most shocking thing of all was not that an Empress had given up her throne for a guard. The most shocking thing was how much the galaxy had needed exactly that kind of love. And now it was spreading, like seeds on the wind, to every corner of space where people were ready to choose hope over fear, cooperation over conquest, and love over everything else.